Hi students, welcome to 11th Standard Physics. I am Sheikh Majeeth. The chapter 1 of physics deals with the nature of physical world and measurement. In this session we see introduction. Before we know what is physics, we must understand what is science because physics is a branch of science. Science is a word derived from the Latin word scientia. In Latin, scientia means to know. We all know that our mind is so curious to know something or learn something or understand something. It always asks questions. A child is used to ask so many questions, right? So this curiosity leads to so many inventions that we use nowadays, right? Wright brothers observed the flying of birds. They their mind was so curious to know how the birds are flying. Then they wanted to fly like that. They invented our flight. Similarly, someone who wanted to swim like a fish in the sea, but he knows the capability of human. So what he did, he has developed one transport mechanism to travel in the sea. That is nothing but our ship. So curiosity plays very important role, right? So science is simply a organization of knowledge which is gathered through observation or experimentation or logical reasoning. How we gather knowledge through observation? See, we observe in the daytime we feel thirsty, sweaty, in the nighttime we feel chillness, right? So then we understand and gather the knowledge that we feel chill in the night. This is the knowledge gathering through observation. Suppose if you put some water, some salt in the water, we observe that the salt mixed with the water or the salt dissolved in the water. Then we understand that whenever we put salt in the water, it will dissolve. This is the knowledge gathered through experimentation. How we gather knowledge through logical reasoning? Suppose let us assume that we are traveling from point A to point B and it takes 2 hours to reach from A to B. Once we reach B, we are damn sure that in order to return back to point A, it requires 2 hours of travel. We don't need to travel. Our logical thinking itself will say it requires 2 hours to return back to point A. This is the knowledge gathered through logical reasoning, that is using our logical thinking. So in this way we gather knowledge. If you systematically arrange the knowledge you gather, then that is called science. Clear? Right now we define what is physics. The knowledge of science. Now we understand what is science. The knowledge of science which deals with non-living things such as sun, moon, earth, rainbow, etc. Right? Salt, water. These are all coming under the non-living things around us. The knowledge of these things or the knowledge of science which deals with these things is known as physical science. Physical science has two components. One is physics and another one is chemistry. These two are collectively known as physical science. Right? So the physics is the word coined by the great philosopher Aristotle before 200 and 350 years ago. Right? In that year itself, he has coined this word. Right? Similarly, the knowledge of science dealing with the living things. For example, birds, animals, plants, these are all living things around us. The science which deals with these things is known as biological science. Botany and zoology are falling under this category. Clear or not? So, this is very important difference. One is physical science and another one is biological science. Right? So, you see, in physical science, I told we are dealing with the sun, moon, rainbow, and salt, water, all the non-living things. These are all part of our nature. In biological science, we'll deal with the animal, trees, birds, plants, etc. These are also part of our nature. So simply science deals with nature and natural phenomena. So initially this area or subject is called natural philosophy. In 19th century only, they replaced the term natural philosophy with science. Till now we are using the term science to deal the study of these natural object and the natural phenomena. Clear or not? So next we must know what is scientific method. We know that this is proved scientifically. We heard this term always in our life. So what is scientific method? It is a professional way of understanding or gathering knowledge. For example, it is nothing but a step-by-step procedure. Right? Scientific method is a step-by-step procedure to study natural phenomena. So step by step we have to study natural phenomena and we have to establish or develop some laws which govern those natural phenomena. For example, let me quote Newton. In his life he observed a fruit falling from tree and he has developed some laws which gives the reason for fruits falling from the tree. This is a simple example for scientific method. But this involves a lot of steps, especially 5 steps have been given here. The step 1 is systematic observation. First thing we have to observe systematically everything, whatever happened around us, right? Like Newton observed the falling of fruits from the tree. Then controlled experimentation, right? Then qualitative and quantitative reasoning. Then mathematical modeling, and finally prediction and verification or falsification of theories. Right? Let me explain all these 5 steps with one example. For example, let us take the invention of aeroplane. Right? First, what Wright brothers did, they observed the flying of birds very keenly. That comes under the category of systematic observation. Second, what they did, they developed some instruments to fly first, right? That first time they didn't fly from America to Russia or thousands of kilometers. They started flying for only 100 meter, right? So we cannot do everything in a huge scale in the first time itself. We have to experiment in a controlled manner only. So that is second step. Third, they have given the reason for how they are flying, why they are flying, what is the reason for man to fly, how a man to fly. This is called qualitative reason, right? Next, quantitative reason. Quantitative reason means by using this much of equipments, how much distance they can cover, how much height they can fly, right? So these are all quantitative, that is involving numbers. Clear? And then mathematical modeling. They initially flew for only 10 to 100 meters, right? But how we are able to fly thousands of kilometers now? Initially they started flying for 100 meters only. So what happened? They have developed from that 100-meter experiment, they generalize it for any length or any distance, right? That is done using mathematics. So mathematical modeling, they modeled everything in mathematical equation form. So next step is mathematical modeling. And finally, they have to predict, if we do like this, this will happen. If we do like this will happen. Like that they have to predict. And that prediction they have to prove or disprove. If you don't do, it will happen. That also they have to prove. That is known as prediction and verification of the theories they have developed, or disprove. Disprove is nothing but falsification of theories, right? So this is the way a scientific method should be carried out. That's all about this session. Hope you understand whatever I explained. If you are having any doubt, please ask me in comment section. I am happy to clarify all your doubts. Thank you.